Ladies and gentlemen, in this Elden Ring video, we're going to take a deep dive into some specific build types that's going to be your best bet to look into to find the most success in the DLC. Now, I just put a video out a few days ago on how you should prepare your character for the Shadow of the Erdtree, and in that video, we spoke about how you're getting into the DLC, if you should bring an already existing tune versus creating a new one, and just gave you guys that haven't played in a while a little refresher on all the items that we should be on the lookout for and keep stocking. So in this video, I wanted to take a look at how we could prepare for the DLC in a bit of a different way. So something that we touched upon in the last video, but I wanted to go more in depth on here, is the attack power scaling system that's going to be implemented in just the DLC, not the base game. This is going to be affecting every single build in the game. Now obviously, no matter what system is going to be in place, we want our characters to be as strong as they possibly can be walking into the DLC anyways, so this will give us the best chance for us to succeed. Now, in the interview with Miyazaki, he stated the attack power system that again will only be prevalent in the DLC area will work very similarly to the way it worked in Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Now, if you remember in Sekiro, the way we increased our attack power was by defeating certain bosses and by offering those memories at the Sculptor's Idol. So assuming that it's going to be a very similar system in Elden Ring, we know in order to increase our attack power further, we're going to have to go ahead and defeat bosses, aka complete their content, to build our character's power. Now, will this attack power be a buff or an item drop from all bosses, including just the end of regular dungeon bosses, catacombs, legacy dungeons, all the things, or just main bosses like Market or Godric? This I'm still unsure of, and we'll circle back around with you guys when I get a little bit more information. But for now, leave your thoughts on the matter in the comments below. Now, with all of this out of the way, let's get into the builds that are most likely still going to remain a top-notch choice to take into the DLC. So assuming the overpowered builds that rely on attack power skills and spells in order to dish out their damage are all going to be nerfed down, well, that leaves us with the next best thing: the good old status elements. Since these specific types of builds typically don't rely on high attack power rating, we can obviously still rely on the extremely powerful status effects like Bleed, Frostbite, Poison, Scarlet Rot, because their damage isn't based on your AR. So assuming that Bleed, Frostbite, Poison, Rot all work exactly the same as they do right now, and they don't change these damage types, which I don't think they're going to, but still not 100% sure on that, then walking into the Lands of Shadow with one of these status effect builds in play will definitely give you a leg up compared to other builds that rely strictly on attack power. And do me a big favor, if you're enjoying this video, consider hitting that like button for me, subscribing, and ringing the notification bell for more of this coming your way. Helps me out very much. Thank you so much, guys. The next set of builds that we should be highly considering bringing into the DLC are builds focused on stance damage or posture damage. Now, if this scaling system that's being implemented is only taking our attack rating into account, then posture damage builds will be another safe bet to bring into the DLC. There's tons of builds out there that have very high damage, but there's still plenty of builds that solely rely on breaking enemy stances or posture breaking to produce their damage and dispatch bosses. So using skills like Square Off, Unsheath, Impaling Thrust, Nebula, Glint Blade, and Great Blade Phalanx, Lion's Claw, Dragon's Maw, the list goes on. These will all further boost your stance damage or just allow you to continuously put out a lot of stance damage really quick. So you're able to stagger the enemy, get your critical strike, and repeat this process over and over. So even if your damage is nerfed because your attack power goes down, your posture damage will still be untouched, and you still will be able to deploy that same strategy into your build's gameplay, making you way more powerful than others that rely strictly on big damage with high AR. Now, of course, the goal is to get the best of both worlds, with builds focusing on status ailments, Bleed, Frost, Poison, Rot, while still having a high stance breaking Ash of War or skill. If you can achieve that, that would be just the cherry on top. Another thing I wanted to just touch on before we wrap up is a few specific types of spell damage. We should remember, fire was always a very reliable source of damage due to the damage output that those spells all provide, and how many enemies are actually really vulnerable to fire. Moving into the DLC though, I want you to keep in mind that may no longer be the case. I definitely feel like they're going to take this opportunity to flip a few different spell damage types on their head to create more of a diverse feeling in Elden Ring. And there's no better time to do this than right now, boys. So from the look of Mesmer, the boss in the trailer, I want to say he doesn't look all that vulnerable to fire. Obviously this is just my opinion and may not be the case, but I would just keep a lookout for different types of magic either being nerfed just because of the specific type of area we're in, or buffed to make a change in the game's current meta. And this leads me into some speculation that's been going around that holy damage will be a fantastic damage type in Shadow of the Erdtree. Holy damage is one of the worst damage types in the base game, arguably, and just maybe it'll be redeemed here in the DLC. And it does make sense, since we're going into the land of Shadow, and Holy and Shadow are kinda opposites, maybe we could see it become one of the better spell damage types. Once again, we don't know for sure if that's the case, but I would be absolutely thrilled if they took this opportunity to make it happen. Not only is this a perfect time to make a swap on some of the more used spells, but it works thematically as well to at least buff up the Holy spell side of things. And I want to know what your thoughts are on this. Do you have a build in mind already? Is it too early to tell? Did you decide to make a new tune or play through the DLC with an already existing one? Let me know down below. Hit that like button if you liked the video, subscribe and ring the notification bell for more, and I will see you in the next one. Toodles!